Hello, we are students of second BSc Physics, and this is a video discussion on the topic stigmas associated with the human immunovirus or HIV. And this particular discussion is something that is relevant to our current situation where we are being plagued by the novel coronavirus. And this has one goal in mind. It is to look at the different stigmas associated with people who have HIV or who are HIV positive and try to break them down and make sense of it. HIV stands for human immunovirus, which means that it attacks humans. But does it mean that a person who is infected with HIV cannot have kids? Does it mean that they are not entitled to one of the basic psychological needs of a human being? So let's see what Graham has to say about childbearing and people who are infected with HIV.
What's up, people? I'm gonna talk about the myths about HIV, and the myth I have chosen is HIV positive people can't have children, but the truth is they can. The most important thing that the women living with HIV should do is she should start her ART treatments, also known as antiretroviral treatments, as soon as possible. She could probably work with a healthcare provider so that she gets her medicines properly on the right time throughout her entire pregnancy. Even after the delivery, the baby has to be given the concerned medicines for like 4 to 6 weeks, and if all the things are managed properly, the risk of transmitting the virus could be as low as 1% or even less. Thank you.
It is a well-established scientific fact that bodily fluids like blood can carry the human immunovirus, and this has put a lot of people into panic when it comes to donating blood or getting blood transfusions. Now, how much of this is true? Could you actually be affected by it? Let's look at what Nathan has to say about it.
As about 1.2 to 1.5 gallons of blood circulating in their body. So they can donate blood up to 350 ml once in every 3 months. Now, there is a myth. Blood donation put one under HIV risk. Doctors in various parts of the country are rigorously testing that a variety of blood-related conditions, including HIV. Now, what they are saying is, bank blood that is available for transfusion does not contain HIV. So now this is a research which was done by many doctors and many scientists, and it is proved that this myth is totally false. So if you have any doubt or if you have any queries about it, you can always contact a health care provider or any doctors even. So they will give you a very clear understanding. So blood donation put one under HIV risk is totally false.
When it comes to a pandemic, one of the things that must be kept low is the death rates. And the only way that could be done is with years of research. So when HIV first originated, there was no pre-existing cure, and scientists have worked long and hard, but we do not have a permanent cure for HIV even today. But we have come significantly far. We have made long strides in the fields of research. So let's see what Sharon has to say about this.
There's a common myth around HIV that a person who has HIV would definitely die, but that is only a myth because even though a definite cure for HIV has not been found yet, HIV can be treated with proper medication. There are the HIV medicines called as antiretroviral therapy, or ART in short. It won't help to completely eliminate the virus from the body, but it will help to slow down the growth of the virus in the body and thus keep the amount of virus in the body low. Now, AIDS is actually the last stage of infection of an HIV virus, and a person who has HIV virus and is left untreated is at a higher risk of developing the AIDS disease, which is life-threatening. But in most of the cases, most people who have the HIV virus but have been taking proper HIV medication have not developed the AIDS disease and thus are able to live long and healthier lives.
Ever since the infamous HIV breakout in 2006, people have been probing into the origins of this human immunovirus and where it came from. So to give a brief history on how this virus came into existence, let's hear Jerima's words.
About the history of HIV, it is widely believed that HIV originated in Congo in 1920 when HIV crossed its species from chimpanzees to humans. Up until 1980s, we do not know how many people were actually affected by HIV and developed the disease AIDS. HIV was unknown and the transmission was not accompanied by any kind of signs or symptoms. While in 1970s, the years prior to 1970s, the first few cases of HIV was documented. The actual epidemic started in the mid or late 1970s, and by 1980, HIV may have already spread to 5 continents. And in this period of time, there were 3 lakh people affected by HIV.
HIV was a global pandemic, but than the global, we are more bothered about the local. We are more bothered about the things that we can see. So here's Arun Kumar to explain how HIV/AIDS entered South India and few facts about it.
Hello, Arun from 2nd BSc. Project is about HIV, and my topic is about HIV in rural areas in South Indians. In India, South India, which is large numbers of migrant workers, had a large numbers of people affected by the HIV. This included antenatal women who are a vulnerable population. The amount of peoples and amount of some peoples, the government of India, along with the non-governmental organizations, that is an NGO, a large numbers of people work on that. On large numbers of program to screen and decrease the mother-to-child transmission. This is turned as a brought down the prevalence of the HIV.
Now that we have learned about the history behind the spread of HIV, how does it actually affect the body? More on that to be delivered by Stanley now.
Hello, I am Stanley. I am going to talking about HIV. HIV causes AIDS. It's an incurable disease. This disease prevents the formation of white blood cells. Because of this, our human body's natural immunity is reduced. So it prone to many diseases. And the only way to cure this disease is ART, that is antiretroviral treatment. So the Tamil poet Bharatiya's poem said, எல்லா உயிரும் இன்பம் எய்துக எல்லா உணர்வும் ஒன்றாகுக. So we should be make awareness about this virus. Thank you.
Whenever a disease becomes lethal, that's usually when people start getting aware about its means of spreading and try to avoid getting the particular virus. For instance, we do not bother much about catching a cold or getting a flu because those are comparatively non-lethal, but there is a lot of panic associated especially with the spread of HIV. Now, can we actually touch a person who has HIV? Can we interact with them like normal human beings? Can we shake their hands? Can we share food with them? So these are certain myths that Jeffrey would be addressing now.
Do you know how HIV spreads? But before that, let me list myths about HIV spreading. There are a lot of misconceptions about HIV spreading. Some of them are by fluid, touching air, through air, and some say that through animals, but they really do not. How HIV spreads from one person to another by blood and vaginal fluid, anal mucus, and from mother to child during pregnancy, and injecting drug with a needle that is affected with blood in it, and infected blood donations, and even through organ transplantations. Hi, this is Jeff from 2nd BSc.
So this brings us to the end of this video, and I should say that making this video, this experience was pretty informative for me because it helped break certain stigmas that I had on my own earlier. For instance, I used to believe that HIV could spread to saliva. Turns out that it could not, which is proven scientifically. And so this is what I would like to tell. This is the take-home message for the people who try and understand these things. It's that awareness is the key. We are supposed to gain awareness about things, and awareness is the one that moves away uncertainty. And HIV was a pandemic that once rocked the world, and similarly there is another pandemic that is going on right now, and we must learn from our mistakes, and we must make sure that we don't repeat the same mistakes. At the same time, we must treat the people who are infected by this particular virus with respect, treat them as humans, and that I believe is something that was a main takeaway while doing this video. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed this video.